Good morning, everyone. It is the 11th of July, 2024, a glorious Thursday. And it is 9 o'clock in the morning here in Tucson, Arizona, which means it is time for the Mindful Moment. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I am the senior minister here at Unity of Tucson. Unity of Tucson is an inclusive and loving spiritual center right here in Tucson, Arizona, where our purpose is to provide the tenets of new thought as a basis for enhancing the quality of our lives through spiritual practice, developing a personal purpose, and also to master spiritual understanding. So that's what we're here to do. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment and let me know that you are here. It's always good to see those comments come through. And also, if you have a question, that's what I've been doing recently, is inviting questions on the Mindful Moment. So if you have a question that's coming up for you around something spiritual in your life, throw that question into the comment field and let us, I'll be happy to address it. I do want to say hello to Sherry, happiest of moments to all. Grateful to see you this magnificent day. Beryl Varno, good morning. Grateful to see you as well. I will offer this reminder, as I do, which is to say, you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. And I am so grateful that you shine your light and share your magnificence. Please keep doing that. So we'll see if any questions come through. I am looking at a way, I think I'm able to monitor the chat function on our website, which normally doesn't come through on the thing that I use, but maybe some chat messages will come through if somebody's watching on the website. I got that over there. Andy, good morning to you. Grateful to see you this magnificent day. One thing that has come up for me is I saw this post today and I copied the text of it because I really loved it. And I think it's, part of it is it's a practical way to move about life. And so one of the things I'm always interested in is how do we make this philosophy practical? How do we practicalize the spiritual, right, in our everyday life? Because what's the point of having a spiritual life if it's not going to become a practical part of our everyday experience? And so somebody posted this on Facebook today. It said, "Today I will do my best to bless everything and everyone in my life." But that's not the whole sentence. Today I will do my best to bless everything and everyone in my life, even what's hardest to bless. That's oftentimes the challenge for people. We find things that, that push up against our level of comfort, that seem disrespectful and that seem challenging in life. And part of what I'm always advocating is that if we have a willingness to look past the circumstances, to root ourselves into the knowledge of who that person is fundamentally, that we don't have to agree with their behavior, we don't have to agree with their we don't have to agree with their opinions, we don't have to agree with them, but ultimately looking at them and understanding them from the point of view of love only. That's part of the work that we do here. And one of the ways that we can do that is to do just that, to bless everything and everyone, to offer the blessing, to offer the grace in our own hearts. That's a way of blessing, to offer the grace in our own hearts towards their experience. So that's something to think about. Marvis, good morning. Grateful to see you. Sherry, how best to keep our imagination focused on what we want versus worst case scenarios? This sort of ties into what I was talking about yesterday with respect to imagination that was rooted in Roberta's question. Yeah, I'm going to say it because I think that it warrants being said. I think one of the challenges is, I think across the spectrum in this, the environment in the United States, especially, I would say the United States predominantly. I can't speak to what it's like in other countries, although I have a sense of what it might be like in other countries. I have a sense of what it's like in Canada because I used to live there and I have lots of friends and family who still are there. But we're having a really challenging time in this country right? It's really easy to look and see what is the worst case scenario, and everybody on either side of the aisle thinks that the other side is the worst case scenario to unfold for this country. So this is not limited to one political ideology or the other. I want to be really clear on that. Everybody looks at it as the worst case scenario, what may happen. And it can be very challenging to keep our minds aright in that. And I think one of the things that I do is I utilize my own, I keep bringing this up. How do we keep our imagination focused on what we want? One of the things is to not try to coerce the world into our way of being, not going out there and being like, I gotta force it to change. That what is required is for each and every one of us to allow the grace within our own hearts. You know, as I talk about this nature of grace, bless everyone and everything, even when it's hard to bless, right? Everyone and everything outside the self, that has to mean for us as well, to allow ourselves to bless ourselves, to move forward with grace in our own hearts. And that can mean being the best you can be in this moment and in every moment. That the degree to which we are living as the outflow of love, the outflow of peace, the outflow of benevolence, the outflow of beauty, the outflow of joy, the outflow of all of these things, then we actually are creating effect in our world, and we will draw into our experience those things. You know, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, one of the quotes I used to use a lot was he used to say, if you want more love, be more loving. If you want more peace, be peaceful. If you want more joy, demonstrate joy. Like it's an inside job. And I think the more we try to derive our good from the things out there, the more off base we end up being, and the more we give up our divine natural authority to outside circumstances to determine our good. So if we think that anything out there has any bearing on the wholeness or goodness of our lives, then I think we need to rethink. I think we need to rethink and begin to demonstrate. Now, what does that mean? That we don't take action in support of, and I'm just going to say generally, because this goes for both sides. And I say both sides because we are in a binary construct in the political system in this country. There is that faction and that faction, and there's no voice for the in-betweens, really. But basically, allowing ourselves to be driven to the active support of those that we agree with in that field. Or even partially agree with, because trust me, ain't nobody gonna come up with 100% of your ideas that are gonna be implemented. That just won't happen. Political ideas and political ideologies, although there's lots of similarities, are gonna be wildly diverse in relationship to the person who is carrying those ideas. There are as many ideas as there are people alive. So, are we going to ever have 100% agreement? No. But that's the thing, is finding within ourselves the opportunity to spiritually move forward, and support that which is most nourishing. I think what is most nourishing for the self and for the collective. That's how I choose to move forward. So I don't know if that answered your question. I'm going to go back. How best to keep our imagination focused on what we want versus worst case scenarios? I guess in my mind, like almost any outcome is a worst case scenario. Right now, it just seems like that is what is unfolding. Yeah. Sherry says, I was not even thinking about the political circus. Isn't it funny where my mind goes, though? But what about the daily activities? For example, bills, health, relationships. Well, part of that I'm going to say is pray and be active. If prayer does not impel action, then I think it's empty prayer. I think far too many of us stand in the idea that, oh, if I just pray, it's all going to be great. And it will be, provided that prayer is impelling us, it's compelling us into action. There are ways that all of these things can be addressed. I get it. Bills can be tough. I got bills. I got things that I've got to address in my life that are important. And it's taking the active time to breathe through it all and allow yourself the grace to know that, first of all, if it's related to, say, bills, allow yourself the grace to know that you are floating in a sea of abundance. And so there's always an opportunity for yourself to utilize that abundance. Health, your spiritual blueprint. I've talked about this before. Your spiritual blueprint, the core of who you are, that has not been touched by anything outside in the world of the circumstantial, is how you can get yourself back to center. Relationships. Are you willing to understand that love is at the core of all relationships? That love, if we look upon our fellow person with love, whether we like them or not, that is a healthy approach to relationships. But it takes constant work until it doesn't. And that's the thing. Habitualizing the mind is part of the work that I encourage us all to do, to find ways to make our default be the prayerful awareness, the prayerful, joyful awareness. What is our default? That's something to perhaps consider in another video. Well, I am ready to pray. Are you ready to pray? I'm going to go ahead and pray. If it's safe and comfortable for you to close your eyes, feel free to do so. Choose to close my eyes as it invites me to turn the attention to the source of all creation, the inner resource, the inner life, the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings, the magnificence that is the divine. And it is who and what we are. Each and every one of us, we are this light. We are the life. We are the magnificence of God. We are facets of wholeness. And the wholeness would not be whole without our expression. For you take away any part of the wholeness is no longer whole. So I revel in and celebrate my participation in and as an aspect of wholeness. For there is only this one presence, this one power, this one wholeness. There is God and nothing else. And this is who and what we are. There is nothing separate from. There is only the magnificent outflow of divine creative energy, letting itself be known as all creation, as all life. We are living the life of God and calling it our own, recognizing and defining it as our own, but it is all the life of God. And so as this unfoldment does its perfect work, I know it does so rooted in our conscious awareness. And so I open my conscious awareness to a greater flow of love, a greater flow of imaginative play, a greater flow of forgiveness, a greater flow of grace, a greater flow of spiritual understanding. For all the things I see in the world of form, there's a spiritual idea behind it. And I know that in addressing the spiritual idea, I am at liberty to shift, to change, or to not shift or not change. I know that I am in charge of my well-being. I know that I am in charge of my relationship and interaction with all creation. And so I choose love, grace, peace, beauty, and harmony. And it is with gratitude and appreciation overflowing from within that I simply allow this unfoldment to be. I let it be so. I trust it is so. And I affirm it easily by saying, and so it is. Amen. Always a delight to share this time with you. I am here every Monday through Thursday for the Mindful Moment at 9 a.m. On Fridays, come and join me online when I join you with Reverend Steph, Saint Steph, as we call her, up in Canada. She and I do what we call the rant. That is at 9:30 Pacific, 11:30 Central. So check that out right here where you're streaming this content. Yeah, so I will see you for the Mindful Moment again. The next Mindful Moment again is on Monday. The rant is tomorrow. Sunday celebration here at Unity of Tucson. Come check that out. You know, if you want to find out what's happening here at Unity of Tucson, go to unitytucson.com. Check out our website. You can also send me messages or send me questions at revjonathan@unitytucson.com. Yeah, that's it. All right. Peace and blessings to you. I'll see you all soon. Love you. Bye.